Good afternoon. It's Friday. Welcome to Live at 5:55 with Joseph. Hope you had an awesome day today. I hope you had an awesome dynamic week this week and that you're looking really forward to something special going on this weekend. So today I want to talk about relationships. You know, as we're going into the weekend, as we finish our work week with the people we work with, and relationships includes like all of that in our life. It includes our family. It includes that great love of our life or that person in our life. It includes ourself. You know, the relationship that we have with ourselves. It includes our family and our children. It includes our neighbors and our community and our work life. And it covers all gamuts there with relationships. And typically what I find, if somebody's struggling in a relationship in one of those areas, it's typically goes across the board. If I talk to somebody that's struggling in that great love relationship, they will typically have struggles in other areas as well. So as we're going through this today and talking about this, I just want to point out some information and some details of things I've learned, things I've helped clients with regards to relationships. First and foremost, you can never go outside of yourself to get filled by an outside relationship. What happens is it has to come from within and go outwards from there. I remember a long time ago, I was looking at getting a dog, and a really good friend of mine told me, he said, you know, Joe, don't get a dog until you have so much love you have no place else to place it. You know, what a great idea. What a great concept that is, you know, is that we look for those areas in building relationships, you know, and your friendships, you know, that they're mutually beneficial, that they're nurturing back and forth, that there's growth, that you have a place you can go to, a partner in believing, things like that. You know, and most people I come up to are in one of three places with a love relationship. They're either seeking that love relationship, they're either in that love relationship, or they've decided that they're okay being the way they are right now. So it's one of those three areas. And that person that's looking for that great love relationship, you know, the more effort we put into trying to make it happen, the less likely it is that it's going to show up. It's when we get into living like that third person does, where they're just living and whether they don't need that relationship or they don't desire that relationship at this time in their life. And all of a sudden, that's when the opportunities and things start showing up. And the reason being is because we're trying to make it happen. So we start seeing the opportunities that show up for us that would afford that to happen. You know, I talked to a lot of clients. I had a client of mine that I started coaching for business. And within a week, as we started getting to know each other on the first coaching session, I realized that he had a 36-year marriage and him and his wife just kind of coexisted with each other. You know, they shared living quarters, and that's about as much engagement that they had between them. The fourth week I was coaching with this gentleman, he happened to be in an event I was doing, and he came up and did a testimonial. And he said that within the 4 weeks, his life was reignited, that they were doing things together like they did when they were newlyweds. They're snuggling up on a couch and watching movies, eating popcorn. They're going out together. They're having conversations with depth. It was like the whole thing was reignited. And so I asked him in front of everybody, I said, so explain, you know, I know what you've done 4 weeks and we know what you've done, you know, with program working with me, things like that. What has your wife done? And she said, she hasn't done nothing. And everybody in the audience laughed. But what he was saying with that and what made sense in what he was saying is that he took that initiation. He initiated change in his relationship. So often I see couples that have been together for a while, a year beyond that they just kind of bump heads, and it's like the one is sick and tired of waiting for the other one to do something, and they've decided they're not going to do it anymore. You know, if you're in that place, if you're in that position, if you're not willing to do anything different, if you're locked in, you got your heels dug in on that, this is the best you're going to get to. It's not until we can open up to being willing to step out in order. And we're not doing it for the other person. We're not caving in. I used to think all the time when I did that I was caving in or I was losing or somehow I wasn't, you know, I was getting the short end of the stick. But really what it is that person that steps up is the brave person. The person that steps up is stepping into bravery. They're saying, I'm not willing to settle for this. I want something better. You know, and that same thing we just talked about with love relationship can apply to our children. where we look at them and we're looking at what they're not, or we're looking at what they're not doing compared to what they should be, or where they're at, or things like that, or they're, in the mischief and stuff like that. And that can turn. I have a 24-year-old son I absolutely adore. But there were times when he was a teenager, him and I did not get along, at all. But I still would find ways of making him laugh in the morning on his way to school. I still would look at things that I could do to get us to mesh together and blend together. There's times when he would sit on the couch during that time and he would just lay there and I'd be sitting on a chair and I would text message him, because he wouldn't actually talk with, conversation. So I would start texting him stuff and he would just look at me and go, seriously? But it's things like that. It's applying things like that. And so for today, it's a really special today because Friday is Power Tool Friday. And I have a really awesome tool to share with you today. So one of the things I'd like you to do, whether you look at that great love relationship in your life, whether you look at your family or your children or your extended family, your neighbors, maybe it's the people you just finished the work week with that you look at. And anybody you're not just feeling super grateful for right now, that you're not feeling super excited to see, spend time with, get back to next week if it's work people and such, is I want you to look for something about that person that you really, really, really appreciate. Something that you can really appreciate in that person. And maybe it's a great love relationship or your spouse or your family, your children, that going into this weekend, where instead of going into it with expectations of how they should be or what you want them to be or what they can be or any of that, is get into that appreciation. Find something about them that you appreciate. And just focus on that for a little while this weekend. People at work, your work people, the people you work with and such, your team and such, is look at those people. I've worked for, quite a few organizations and corporations and helped save companies in bankruptcy and stuff. I've worked with some really, really awesome teams of people I still talk to today. And then I've worked with people that I really would not have talked to had I passed them on the street based on the kind of person they were, but I was forced to because of the position I was in. If you look at those people, and there's always, always, always something, if somebody's lingering on your mind right now, and it's like, that son of a bitch, or, they, whatever, and find something you appreciate about them. And I'll tell you, by doing so, you're not doing it for that other person. You're doing it for yourself. If you do this, if you lean into this, you'll feel a rise in how good you feel about your life by doing so. The side benefit to that is you could very, very likely see some change around happen within that relationship in your life. So the power tool for today is to look for appreciation over expectation in your relationships. And then the last thing I want to share with you today, and I'll be right back with you here, is the Ignite Success Institute Facebook group. This group is growing like it's so exciting how big it's growing. And it's all about mastering your mindset. It's all about getting into alignment with what you want to be, do, have, give, create, and experience in your life. There's no cost to join. And all you got to do is click on the link that I put in the post here tonight and just click join. And you're in. You'll get all kinds of inspiration, motivation. We're doing lives, events in there, and we're doing where people can call in and get on-spot coaching. And what we're doing is taking the information that we're talking about here live at 5:55 in a short period of time and taking it really in depth. And again, there's no cost to it. It's my way of serving and loving my life. So I hope you have an awesome weekend. I hope that you find unrealized blessings and that you find joy and recharge. God bless.